All right, everyone, let's dive into what's happening with XRP right now. We're looking at the one-day chart here, and XRP is sitting pretty at $2.55. That's a solid 6.42% gain today. Now, I know you're all getting excited, and rightfully so, but here's the thing. This isn't the big moment we've been waiting for just yet. What's coming next? That's what we've been patiently waiting for, my friends. I'm talking about those euphoric times, the real breakout that's going to change everything. When I look at XRP's chart right now, honestly, all I see is a correction phase. But don't worry, things are definitely starting to heat up. And here's why I'm so bullish. Check this out. Bitcoin just climbed back above 107K, but it's only up less than 1%. Meanwhile, XRP is absolutely crushing it, outperforming Bitcoin by a mile. And Ethereum, still stuck in the red, also getting left in the dust by XRP. We've been watching this pattern play out throughout this entire cycle. And guess what? I think it's going to keep happening. Why? Because, in my opinion, we're holding the cryptocurrency with the best return on investment in this cycle. Period. Just imagine when all those catalysts start hitting one after another. We're going to watch XRP's price climb higher and higher, and it's going to be beautiful to witness. Now, here's something that caught my attention. An analyst just revealed what they believe will trigger the largest XRP price rally in history. Are you ready for this? They're pointing to the government reopening as the key catalyst. Like I've mentioned before, when the government reopens, it's going to bring massive stability to our market. But here's the kicker. It's also going to send certain cryptocurrencies absolutely soaring. For XRP specifically, the government reopening is incredibly bullish. Think about it. Suddenly, we could see a wave of ETFs going live, possibly through the SEC. Beyond that, we're looking at regulatory clarity finally coming our way. And there might even be some stimulus in the mix, though I suspect that'll end up being a tax credit when all is said and done. But here's the bottom line. No matter how you slice it, the government reopening is going to stabilize this market. And I truly believe it's going to favor utility-driven cryptocurrencies like XRP. Now, the government isn't reopened yet. We're still waiting for that crucial vote in both the Senate and the House. But here's what's got me excited. It looks like we could see this happen by the end of the week. Get this. 88% of Polymarket bettors are predicting the US government shutdown will end this week. We're talking somewhere between November 12th and 15th. That timeline could really get this market moving and give Bitcoin a nice push upward too. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Bitcoin's story is over, but I don't think it's going to perform the way most people expect. Here's why. The institutions, they're already looking past Bitcoin. Most of the OG
Bitcoin holders are actually selling off their positions right now. And I think the momentum behind Bitcoin is starting to fade. So where's all that money going to go? Sure, some of it will flow into Ethereum, but I think a significant chunk is going to end up in XRP, Solana, and other cryptocurrencies. Basically, cryptos that people can actually afford to buy whole coins of. Makes sense, right? Here's another development that's worth paying attention to. This comes from Eleanor Terrett. The Senate AG Committee just released their long-awaited bipartisan crypto market structure discussion draft. I spent time reading through most of this thing, and let me tell you, it's lengthy. But here's my main takeaway. This is going to benefit utility-driven cryptocurrencies in a big way. However, it might actually hurt Bitcoin, because it specifically addresses offshore entities like Tether. If this bill ends up crushing Tether in any way, that's going to drag Bitcoin down with it. Now, it's still too early to say definitively if that's going to happen. And I thought Tether was working on creating a new stablecoin specifically for the US market anyway. But the writing's on the wall, folks. We're seeing a clear shift toward utility and regulatory compliance. And that's exactly where XRP shines brightest. Now, about that new stablecoin everyone's talking about, here's the reality check. People think they're just going to mint it the same way they minted USDT and use it to prop up Bitcoin. But that's not how this is going to work, folks. Everything now is about anti-money laundering compliance, transparency, and regular audits. The Wild West days are over. But you know what? This bill is going to be absolutely huge for utility-driven cryptocurrencies like XRP. And speaking of regulation, check this out. This comes from the CFTC. They've set an end of 2025 target for a fully regulated crypto market framework. They're saying we must bring crypto into the regulated arena. It's a sprint, and by the end of the year, we will have live initiatives that make that vision real. The fact that they're pushing forward this quickly with the CFTC, that's going to be game-changing. It's finally going to separate what's a commodity from what's a security. And we all know XRP will never be labeled as a security ever again. That chapter is closed. I'm getting super excited right now, because just think about this. We watched XRP going sideways around $2.20 just a few days ago, and everybody was acting like crypto was dead. Now, XRP moves up a bit, and suddenly everyone's getting excited again. Like I always tell you, the second this market turns green, that excitement comes flooding back. And once XRP really starts moving upward, watch how quickly the FOMO kicks in for this cryptocurrency. I honestly think it's going to happen by the end of this week. There's a real chance we're looking at a $3 XRP by the end of this week. And here's why. Expert Nate Garossi says the
first 1933 Act Spot XRP ETF could launch this week. And he's not wrong. Look at this. Canary Capital has cleared SEC delays and confirmed the launch of its Spot XRP ETF this Thursday. This Thursday, people! I'm really curious to see what the inflows look like for that ETF, because that's going to give us a much better understanding of how high XRP's price is going to go in this run. I'm seeing a lot of people saying we're going to flip Ethereum easily. A lot of people are speculating again that we're absolutely going to flip Bitcoin's market cap as well. And you know what? It's not just Canary Capital. Franklin Templeton might debut on November 14th. Bitwise is expected between November 19th and 20th. Meanwhile, 21 shares and coin shares are targeted for mid to late November. It's going to be one after another after another. And with all that inflow coming into XRP this month, I think we're going to be looking at a completely different XRP by the end of November. And when you couple that with the government reopening, oh, and the McRib is back as well. That's actually a very big signal for crypto. I'll talk more about that in another video. But I'm so excited to see where we go from here, because this is what we've been waiting for such a long time. Everyone's been talking about ETFs ever since the first one was mentioned, and now it's finally about to become reality. Here's another headline that caught my eye. XRP flashes its strongest bull structure ever on a 3-month chart. How high will the price go now? I think this prediction is way too low though. They're saying $12.30, and honestly, I think that could happen in the short term. With that inflow of money month over month, I think we're going much higher. That $12.30 would be typical for alt season, in my opinion. It all depends on where we are compared to that legendary 2017-2018 run. Now, I know in yesterday's video I said I don't see XRP hitting $1,700 in this run, and a lot of you told me I was crazy in the comment section, but I just don't see it happening. I think a lot would have to align perfectly for XRP to get to that price point. However, I absolutely do think a 3-digit XRP is still on the table, and that's incredibly exciting. When would that 3-digit XRP actually happen though? I think we're looking at early 2026 if it happens, because here's what needs to align first. We need to get that massive inflow of money into the ETFs, and we also need that Clarity Act to finally get passed. Once that happens, that's when we start to see the tokenization boom. A lot of value could come onto the XRP ledger through tokenization early on, and that could really get the price moving in ways we've never seen before. So here's my thinking. With a couple of major catalysts, we could easily get to $100. Without those catalysts, we're most likely looking at somewhere around $50 plus. Now, that $1,700 target, if XRP pulls a shocker like it did back in 2017-2018, then honestly, who knows how high this thing could go? Speaking of predictions, here's one that caught my attention. XRP flashes strongest macro bull trend in its history. Now, this prediction is a little bit better, and it's more in line with what we were expecting to see during alt season. They're calling for XRP to hit $26.63. But here's the thing. They're not factoring in all the catalysts we have now. You know, back in 2022 during the bear market, analysts were saying, just wait until the next bull run. We're going to see a $27 XRP. But that was before there were any talks of an ETF. There were no treasuries being created around XRP.
No talk of regulatory clarity. We were still battling it out with the SEC back then, and they were expecting those price points without any of the massive catalysts we have today. So I think even $26.63 is still conservative for XRP's potential. I think there's a very good chance we go even higher, but we've got to see what those inflows actually look like. Plus, you've got to factor in the market cap multiplier effect. I saw one analysis saying XRP price could reach $43.31 if it rises 1,775% like Zcash. But here's what bugs me. I hate when they compare XRP to any other cryptocurrency, because XRP is something completely different. It has massive utility. We're literally on the verge of institutional adoption for the XRP ledger. Look beyond that. Cross-border payments are all the talk right now, especially with ISO getting ready to go live this month. There's so much more to XRP than just a price rise due to alt season. It actually has real-world utility, and I still believe there's a very good chance this could be the run where we see scarcity for the first time ever. We're watching all the XRP on exchanges start to dry up. As more and more companies create treasuries, that's more and more XRP leaving circulation. Plus, Flare is still ramping up with FXRP, and these ETFs, they also have to lock away XRP. The spot ETFs are backed 1-to-1. That's exactly why spot ETFs are so important to XRP's price. I've explained this in a few videos before, but all of this takes XRP out of circulation right when we're about to see retail FOMO happen. That could be another major game changer. So can we see a run like 2017 to 2018? Absolutely. That can definitely happen. I just don't think it's going to happen that soon. If it does, it's going to be a complete shocker. And I'll tell you right now, if XRP pulls off a run like that, most of us are going to be sipping drinks out of coconuts on a beach somewhere next year at this time. But here's the key. As long as you don't sell too soon. If you sell too soon, you are absolutely going to regret it in this run. Plus, we're on the verge of passive income opportunities as well. Institutional adoption is going to open up so many possibilities for earning off your crypto holdings. Look, I know I got a bit scattered in this video, but I'm just super excited right now because it's all
Finally coming together. It looks like there aren't going to be any more delays, and that's what we've been waiting for. So let's see where we go from here. And until it all happens, stay patient, stay strong, and keep holding those bags. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.